Rock.
What's great, y'all? I'm Henry Rock Johnson. You are now tuned in to Roc Radio. Today I got my brother Thrizzle. Don't forget the 1-3 with me. And we're just going to get straight to the point, okay? Everybody's talking about Super Bowl halftime show. It's in New Orleans, Louisiana. Everybody thinks that Lil Wayne, not everybody, but it's been a lot of feedback on the selection of Kendrick Lamar for Super Bowl halftime show. We just gonna cut straight into that. We gonna learn about what the criteria is a little bit along the way, but we're really just gonna talk about the meat of the subject. Lil Wayne or Kendrick Lamar, how do you feel about that?
Definitely with this situation with the Super Bowl being in New Orleans, I don't understand why it wasn't Lil Wayne.
All right, so a lot of people still might be caught on the fact that Snoop and Dr. Dre and all of them performed in LA. Exactly. And then you also have another case where Beyonce just so happened to perform in the Super Bowl in Houston. I get that. However, even before we got to this point, Super Bowl used to be really about like marching bands. It was an era where they had like Disney, they had like Mickey Mouse out there on the field. They was performing like Snow White on Ice or something at the Super Bowl halftime.
Right.
So Michael Jackson and Prince and U2 and a lot of those artists really brought it to the forefront. So if you really look back at the list of artists who performed at the Super Bowl, outside of those two instances, everybody else is from somewhere else, and it really hasn't been a big issue until now.
You have a point. It's extremely controversial. But what I'm looking at is this is like the new NFL in a sense, because now we're talking about after a person like Colin Kaepernick basically gets kicked out of the league for his actions regarding us as a culture. And so like Kendrick's an activist, if I'm not mistaken, and he's very pro-black. And so it's kind of tricky to me because everything that he stands for, especially like for us, it doesn't necessarily go with the NFL. He's just popular. I know that's one of the criteria, right?
Yeah,
popularity.
Definitely. Popularity, like who's popping, like how can you draw the crowd in? Like how relevant are you at the moment? So right now, let's look at Kendrick.
Yeah.
Kendrick is fresh off of taking the whole summer with Not Like Us.
Right.
Like, alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so that has, he has that in his corner. Also, Kendrick has 17 Grammy Awards. Okay, he's won. His last one he's won was year before last. Because I don't think he won after this year.
Yeah.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Nah.
But
he did get one for Damn, right?
Yeah, he got one for Damn. He got one for Pimp a Butterfly.
Right.
Okay, best rap song. He got All Right. He got Humble. He got something for King's Dead, The Heart Part 5. So he has a long list of Grammy Awards that you can choose from.
Right.
He gonna mess around and win the Grammy for Not Like This, because that might be the first time that this song ever wins the Grammy. So you actually want something like that, especially recently if you had like Weeknd and Rihanna and stuff performing at the halftime show. You kind of want to go along with that trend. And you got to think about it. I mean, Weezy got his Grammys. We gonna respect, Carter 3 while Lollipop and the Millie. But outside of that, real talk, man, like it's all mixtape Weezy.
Interesting. So you feel because the songs weren't necessarily commercial that dings him? Because I feel like Lil Wayne definitely is more influential than Kendrick Lamar. But I almost want to say by far, but after hearing that he has 17 Grammys, I don't want to go that far. But with Lil Wayne, I think he's produced a whole lot more work and released a whole lot more work than Kendrick has. And I feel like Wayne is responsible for giving us more music that is not from him aka Kendrick's current nemesis Drake, and Nicki Minaj. When you talk about that body of work that comes from the extension of Lil Wayne, I don't know anybody that's touching that.
Yeah, that's real interesting. Kendrick does have his pipeline as well, but from the TDE days, but nothing along the lines of Drake and Nicki.
Yeah, nothing. You know, I love Schoolboy Q. Shout out Schoolboy Q. I love Ab Soul. Shout out to Ab Soul. I love their music, but you know, it's like we're not gonna get into that. I can say what have they done, because their albums haven't been to the level of what Lil Wayne's predecessors have. So yeah, you know what though, as I think about it, multiple people have to perform. It's not just gonna be Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he's the headliner.
Right. So he's the headliner. So I think, you know, everybody's reacting just as we are. We're reacting to it. But ultimately, it may be a situation where Lil Wayne does come out and he does perform. And they give him an opportunity. I know, like, for instance, Usher. It was Usher last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, like with Usher, I know he brought out other people. But was there a situation...
He brought out a few people last year.
But did he perform every song? Because that's the thing.
I mean, Alicia Keys did My Boo. Okay. So Usher, he brought out Luda and Little John for years.
Right.
So yeah, pretty much, you know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but as I recall, that everything was tied to Usher.
Yeah.
So in this case, everything will be tied to Kendrick. Like we'll see SZA. You know, we might do King's Dead. They might have Future come out. You had the boy J-Rock. That's, you know, I rock with J-Rock. Right. You know, that's another one who had some type of success, nothing along the lines of Drake and Nicki. But at the same time, Baby Keem, he can bring out Baby Keem and stuff like that. So it depends on the lineup. You know, how they get more intricate with how they select who performs with them. I don't know if that's on the artist or if that's on the committee, which is ran by Jay-Z.
Yeah. And so I think they're trying to make it a thing. They're trying to make it a thing about Kendrick and Drake as to why Lil Wayne wasn't selected. And I'm not sure if that is the reason. But what's funny to me is that, as I said, you know, Kendrick's very, very pro-black. I'm sure he supported what happened with Colin Kaepernick. And the direction that the NFL is going, they've kind of tried to put that behind them. But
hence why Jay-Z was selected.
Right.
To curate the Super Bowl halftime.
Not like us is we know who Kendrick is. Like, we know who Kendrick is talking about. He not talking about Drake when he's saying they not like us. And so, you know, I think about the divisiveness of how that can be taken. I understand it's a diss song, everybody's singing it, but I'm thinking about the reality of it, because there are going to be some intelligent or some more intelligent people who watch it and are like, hey, what is this about? And that could affect Super Bowl ratings, because the whole reason that they brought in a Jay-Z or somebody like that to help with the Super Bowl, because the numbers were going out, from my understanding. Hence, what was it? Was it in Living Color at one time when they did something around the Super Bowl time, and then they changed up the whole format because they couldn't afford to lose all of that viewership. So that, you know, that is what I'm considering with just thinking about him with that song. It's extremely popular, but I think he'll have to stay within bounds that I don't know if he really wants to stay in those bounds. But it's such a shot at Drake. Like it's a trump card with Drake.
So how do you think? Like that, I think that's what's pumping this up even more too, because everybody know that Drake is Wayne's artist,
right? And
now it's like, oh, it's kind of a shot that you got Kendrick performing. So like, yeah, I think that's why everybody really reacting how they are.
Right, because and most people are talking about that Drake track. I think it's First Person Shooter. It was like, big as the Super Bowl, right? That would have been a great song to perform. I think it was timely as far as knowing that Super Bowl was coming to New Orleans. it made sense as far as him dropping that and everything.
I would love to see Drake and Cole perform at the Super Bowl.
And you know they got that song, some problems with 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a dope song. If I'm not mistaken, they even got a Grammy nomination for that song collectively. I think that would be dope. But
you know how the game goes.
Yeah.
Well, folks, this debate is heating up. I'm talking about this all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You might have people not even watch the halftime show, but maybe you're like diehard Wayne fans might not even watch it. Because he does so much for New Orleans. Like, he's on ESPN. He's an avid Packers fan. Like, he's been on First Take. I can't even count on my hands how many times he's been on First Take.
My point.
You know what I'm saying?
My point. Repping somebody in the NFL, he's on the side. He goes to games and he's on the sideline.
Matter of fact, I'll never forget Thursday Night Football last year. My beloved Detroit Lions facing off against the Green Bay Packers. Lil Wayne came out the tunnel with him. I mean, we smacked him that game. But he came out the tunnel with the Packers. So that is major influence if you have an NFL team that allows you to, you know, come out with them and be integrated with their football team.
I could be wrong, but I don't, I haven't really seen Kendrick at football games, but I definitely could be wrong. He probably was at the Super Bowl, but he didn't even perform at that Super Bowl, did he? All of the LA people, he didn't perform at the Super Bowl. That's interesting.
That was like Dre, Snoop.
How you don't do it in your own city?
And M.
But how you don't do it in your own city?
Because it was kind of like an ode to like the G-Funk era, to the Shady Aftermath era. Kendrick is Dre's protege, but and Snoop too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They handed him the torch probably about 10 to 12 years ago, if you saw that video. But that was more of an ode to the Shady Aftermath era.
Got you. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So what do you guys think?
Yeah, what y'all
Should
think?
Lil Wayne have been performing in New Orleans? Should Lil Wayne perform in New Orleans? Are you going to watch the Super Bowl halftime show now since Lil Wayne's not performing and you're a diehard Wayne? Let us know in the comments below and stay tuned for more Roc Radio. Stay locked into the next video.
For sure.